Alright, good evening, good people. How are we all tonight? Welcome to the Brews at 10, live on My Left Eye. I'm your host Lefty. You're all very welcome here, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. Octo, Brett, Kit, great to see you in the chat. Politics Clive there too. Thanks for joining me this evening. Hope you're doing very well. Hope you got a tasty hot beverage, optional drinks to hand. Hope you're all very well. Thanks for being here. Let's get this thing started. Have I got brews for you? Interesting. Politics Clive, good suggestion. I'm working on some new features actually, and I've got one on tonight's live stream as it happens. A sort of updates on the old counter game we used to use on PMQs to come, but I will I'll consider that one definitely. I have restricted myself chronologically. It's been here at 10 o'clock, of course, with the brews at 10. Of course, I'm going to be going over PMQs, Keith's latest efforts at the dispatch box. Sorry not to have been with you so far this week. I did actually want to get on to a Brews at 10 last night, but I was held up. I spent the day at a police station, and I'll be talking about that before we go into PMQs. So apologies it's taken till Wednesday to come to you on a live stream. Following that, I'm going to go into the Trump-Harris debate briefly. It's probably the only time that they're going to clash on TV between now and the election in November. A few other bits to talk about as well. But yeah, get yourself a brew, some biscuits, a slice of cake, whatever takes your fancy. We'll get into a comedy clip shortly. I've got quite an abundance of comedy clips. I'm glad to say they're all, well, they tickled me anyway. I hope you like them. So I've got a few of those interspliced between different segments to come up as well. Octo, I see you've got out the big book of tea suffixes, the bare necessities. Yeah, we do like to throw out a few tea-based puns here on the Brews at 10. Of course, if you can think of any words that end in TY or TIE and so on, please do throw them in the chat. You need to be subscribed to be in the chat. Just hit the button there. 1 minute later you can join others in Solidarity. Solidari-Tea hyphen. And please do hit the thumbs up button as well. Let's help spread this stream around to more socialist minded people. For those of you who aren't regular viewers on the channel, this is My Left Eye, a channel that looks at politics, culture from a socialist perspective, and environmental issues as well. Andy Carter, thanks for jumping in the chat. Nice to see you too. And also a shout out there, Brett, for raising the Palestine flags early on. Awesome to see, as always. Those emoticons or YouTube issue Palestine flags, watermelons, please do feel free to throw them into the chat. Of course, we always show solidarity with Palestine here on My Left Eye. And as long as Israel are committing this occupation, you know, we'll keep speaking out against it. Yeah, I did really enjoy the comedy clips I got into Splice. There's a new one from Exploding Heads, a new one from Nadine Skinner. There's a fresh one in from someone who I've not put on the live stream before as well. And also Larry and Paul with a broken news, which is the first one that we're going to go into in just a minute or two. After I give a customary shout out to all of the members on the channel, I've updated the list now. That's got everybody who joined on the last live stream and since. Thank you so much for your support on the channel, every single one of you, and a massive shout out to people who've contributed by gifting memberships to other viewers as well. That's the preferred way to show solidarity here on My Left Eye. Not only does it contribute towards the channel, it also helps to grow our community. And it's great to see you all here this evening as well. So if you can see your name on this list, thanks again. And I should give a shout out as well, as I like to do as well, to Helena at No Justice, who's raided into the channel recently. Also, Solidari-Tea. It's just come to me actually, one of the parts. Thanks again everybody there, by the way. We've been we've mentioned a couple of times on the last couple of live streams there could potentially be a song or a rap or a poem based around the -t suffixes as well, and I was just thinking that this would be perhaps the perfect background music to that. I don't know if we could get it out there on streams or on single or anything like that. The music's uncopyrighted, but just within the channel that could potentially be an idea as well. Andy Carter, thanks a lot for that gifted membership. JC, hope you enjoy those perks as well. Welcome back to the channel, great to see you again. Yeah, so regarding the song or whatever it might be, or rap, I'll send a few emails out to like Howard Goodall, Ice Cube. See how it goes. Don't know. Okay, I'll dive into a comedy clip, excuse me, in just a moment, but I'll just quickly explain why I was absent yesterday. Without going into too much detail, of course, regular viewers know that I am also not only a socialist YouTube commentator, YouTuber, but I also take part in non-violent direct action with certain organisations, environmental organisations and so on. Just Stop Oil et al. And I recently, as part of my bail conditions, well, yesterday, had to go and post bail. It was, however, about 2.5 hours away from where I live, and there were 4 of us who had to post bail yesterday, who took part in an action earlier this year. I won't go into a lot of detail about what it was or whatever. So we went up there, and we were hoping that the case would have been dropped and that we wouldn't, you know, have the bail extended. However, we did get the bail extended, so we're going to have to return 2.5 hours away again. And well, out of the 4 of us, I actually came the shortest distance. There were 2 of the 4 of us who came from quite a way away. So that's why, and I got back very late, so that's why I wasn't with you yesterday. Apologies, but that was just the way it was. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how it goes. It was an interesting activity, yeah. Oh. Keep them coming, keep them coming. But yeah, was arrested earlier this year. 4 of us were arrested earlier this year as part of an action. When it's all over and done with, I might go into a bit more detail with you, but that's all I'll say for now. It's more me explaining my absence between the last live stream and now, more than going on about the ins and outs of that. So I will, without further ado, go into the comedy clip. First comedy clip I've got lined up. Yeah, all 4. I'm going to show you 3 or 4 of these today. So this is the first one, and it is broken news. Let's just see this one. Obviously, going into the winter fuel payments, I should say. I'm sure that'll come up in PMQs, so I'll go on to that, but that's what this is all about.
Welcome to Broken News. The UK government says it's committed to fixing the economy by going after those with what they call the broadest shoulders. They've begun by focusing on old people who are living lavish lifestyles on sometimes as much as £11,500 a year. Our reporter has more.
The central claim of Labour's election campaign was that they wouldn't hit working people with tax rises. But clearly that slogan allows room for taking money off old codgers who've already done a lifetime's work. And while many UK pensioners have traditionally voted Conservative, pundits say the PM's plan is a novel way to kill them all off. It's clever stuff. Sir Keir Starmer says he's not afraid to take the difficult decisions. And nabbing 300 quid off old Granny Ethel in West Bromwich is definitely more difficult than making big fat Russian non-doms pay their fair share. In fact, the PM says, for example, forcing Amazon to pay their tax is actually too easy, and that's why he can't be bothered to do it. The Prime Minister, who still insists on calling Rishi Sunak the Prime Minister, has been urged to make a U-turn on the winter fuel allowance, but has rejected accusations from other...
Sorry, it's rare that I interrupt a comedy clip, but this is great, by the way. Excuse me. Do you remember last week, Lindsay Hoyle himself accidentally announced Rishi Sunak as the Prime Minister? I don't know if that was a bit of a nod to that or whatever, but we'll see if that happens again today. I'll be keeping my left eye on that one. So I'll just carry on with this.
Labour MPs that he's behaving like a Tory. In an email seen by Broken News, he told them, "U-turn if you want to. The lady is... Sorry, I mean me is not for... I'm not for turning. I mean, I'm not going to change my mind." In a public statement, the PM said, "We've always said those with the broadest shoulders should bear the biggest burden, and many pensioners have quite broad shoulders because of the thick, warm blankets they're forced to put around their icy, withered necks." In response, the Conservatives have very suddenly become extremely worried about the welfare of the working classes and say they're standing squarely behind the poorest in society, which in fairness is exactly what they would have done at the Somme. Back to you.
What a lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
Thanks to Larry and Paul there at Broken News for keeping us up to date. Oh, just give them a shout out on the... Okay, they've not actually put the addresses or links up there, but maybe that's part of the gag. Great stuff as always from Broken News. Lovely stories. Thanks to Larry and Paul for keeping us up to date there. And yeah, now the Tories have had a sudden change of heart. Most of them voted. It was very odd the way that the vote was worded. So it wasn't simply a case of voting for the winter fuel allowance. It was kind of flipped around as to whether you were voting to block the cuts on the winter allowance. Long story short, the Tories seem to have found some warmth in their icy cold hearts, as most of them voted contrary to their typical policies to keep the winter fuel payments. It's just to piss Keith off, of course. No doubt about it. They're all still absolute bastards. Alright, I guess we'll jump into PMQs now. I'll just get that lined up here, 1 second. And I'll explain the new rules with the counter game we got going on. You've seen all the news rounds recently and they're all saying the same few sentences, select phrases. And I posted on Twitter the other day, it really is do my head in how many times we have to hear tough decisions, 22 billion black hole, all of this crap, over and over from Starmer, Reeves, whoever's doing the rounds. And it's getting nauseating, people. It's getting really nauseating. Okay, I've got it lined up now. So it's going to be a versus game again. I'll just explain. So we've got I've picked out 2 phrases. The first one is a black hole, and that's up against deliver, which we had last time out. But so that's going to be the symbol for deliver. Whenever we hear that, we're going to get a ding for postman twat. And we'll see which one comes up the most. So it could be black hole. It could be deliver. Is postman twat going to deliver? Right, stitch the music and get onto it. Thanks for your patience there while I was just queuing that up.
James's Park to honour her memory. And I know the whole House will join me in sending our best wishes to the Princess of Wales as she completes her treatment. Mr. Speaker, this afternoon we'll introduce the Renters' Rights Bill. After years of inaction, this government will oversee the biggest levelling up of renters' rights in a generation, and I urge the whole House to get behind it. And later this week I'll visit Washington to meet President Biden for a strategic discussion on foreign...
Yeah, Andy, I was going to try and superimpose his face on, but then I realised his face is actually comparable to that of the original Postman Pat, so I just left it as it is. No, seriously, like, look up some images of the original Postman Pat. Just stick a pair of bins on him, because he wears the glasses nowadays quite a lot. But it's semi-uncanny, to be honest.
Today, and under their watch, 1 million workers are on 0 hours contracts, and over a million people have no sick pay whatsoever, facing risks that nobody in this House would bear. The details matter, but it is outdated nonsense.
Order. Please sit. One, it's easier if you face me, I can hear it better. But the second part is it's meant to be a question, not a statement. No, I decide. Prime Minister, don't I?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Economic growth is our #1 mission, and that's why we forged a new positive relationship with business. But too many people are insecure at work, and that holds them back and holds our economy back. This government was elected to deliver for working people, and that is exactly what we will do.
We come to the Leader of the Opposition, Rishi Sunak.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I join with the Prime Minister in his words about Her late Majesty the Queen, but also in his words about the Princess of Wales? She's been in the thoughts of everyone across the country, and I know everyone in the House will be delighted and relieved at the progress that she has made. May I also, Mr. Speaker, take this opportunity to pay tribute to Nicholas Howard. This is his last Prime Minister's questions after supporting 8 consecutive Prime Ministers through these sessions. Never my favourite part of the week, but his commendable service made it far more manageable. Mr. Speaker, yesterday Labour MPs voted to remove the winter fuel payment from over 10 million British pensioners, including those with just £13,000 of income. With that decision debated and made, it is now important that the House understands the full consequences of the government's choice. So can I very specifically ask the Prime Minister, will he now publish the impact assessment before the House rises?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is this. They left a £22 billion black hole.
Sunak just wants to get this over with and sod off back to California, pretty much.
This is absolutely clear. It's the largest year-ahead overspend outside of the pandemic. Now, of course, when it comes to mitigations and impacts, we've put those in place. Ramping up pension credit, dealing with housing benefit and linking it, something the party opposite didn't do for years. And because of the tough decisions that we're making to stabilise the economy, we can make sure that the triple lock shows that increases in pensions will outstrip any loss of payments. But before he complains about us clearing up his mess, perhaps he'd like to apologise for the £22 billion black hole.
Mr. Speaker, this has got... Mr. Speaker...
I want to hear
Yeah, you're right, RC Pilot. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's all scripted shite. And if this was a table read for a play, you'd think, you know, they should all sack their agents. That's for fucking sure.
Cost of living benefits. He's the one that's taking money away from pensioners on £13,000, Mr. Speaker. But this has got nothing to do with the public finances. His own Chancellor just this morning, his MPs may not have been listening to her, his own Chancellor this morning admitted that she would prefer it if this policy didn't even raise any money, Mr. Speaker. Obviously, the government would not have made this decision without an impact analysis.
What's Reeves got on there? The cloak of... the shawl of Ghoul. The official shawl of Ghoul.
Mr. Speaker, I remember the days when the Conservative Party used to be concerned about balancing the books. They've left a £22 billion black hole. Responsibility...
It's probably actually a live python of some sort.
The only way to rebuild our country and invest in our public services and make sure everyone is better off is if we clear up their mess and deal with the £22 billion black hole.
And Mithril, thanks for joining us. Great to see you again. Hope you're very well. Let us know how you're doing.
Now it turns out that the Shadow Paymaster General agrees with her and even boasted about texting his own mother saying she didn't need the payment. Until he apologises for the mess they've created, he's no position to criticise the action that we're taking.
Mr. Speaker, they're shouting now, but those arguments didn't even convince 50 of his own MPs, who suddenly found that they had urgent business elsewhere yesterday, Mr. Speaker. But we know why he's hiding the impact assessment. The Labour Party's own previous analysis claimed that this policy could cause 3,850 deaths. So...
Have I missed a couple of black holes? Did they sneak by? Let me know.
Are the numbers in his impact assessment higher or lower than that?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we're taking this decision to stabilise the economy. That means we can commit to the triple lock. By committing to the triple lock, we can make sure that payments of state pension are higher, and therefore there's more money in the pocket of pensioners, notwithstanding the tough action that we need to take. But he goes around pretending that everything's fine. That's the argument he tried in the election. And that's why he's sitting there and we are sitting here.
Mr. Speaker, today pensioners watching will have seen that the Prime Minister has repeatedly refused to admit or to publish the consequences of his decision, and we will continue holding him account for that. But changing topics, Mr. Speaker.
Sorry, it might have been when I was having a couple of comments. It appears I need to add a couple of dings. And we've had a couple of black holes. Let's change the count now. So it's 2-1. They've taken the lead on the black holes. Well, how's about that? Right, let's crack on.
Today is Back British Farming Day, where we recognise that British farmers produce food that is higher quality, has higher welfare standards and higher environmental standards than imported food. And at a time of increasing global volatility, they are also crucial for our food security and national security. Can he therefore confirm, whether he will be adopting the NFU's recent proposal to enshrine a national food security target in law?
Prime Minister.
Well, food security is really important. I'm glad he's raised that. We have talked to the NFU about this, and rural issues are really important, and that's what we fought the election on, why we've got a lot of rural constituencies sitting behind me now. We'll continue need to talk to the NFU. We too take food security very, very seriously.
I'm not sure I did hear a specific answer, Mr. Speaker, but farmers also do great work to preserve the beauty of the British countryside, and something I'm sure that the Prime Minister will appreciate, given his newfound preference for landscapes over political portraiture. But when it comes to land use, there are currently protections in place to ensure that the most productive farmland is used for food production rather than alternatives like solar. So does he agree that it is not appropriate or right that developers with a vested interest
who writes those
of that farmland
jokes?
themselves? And will he look
So-called
at making
jokes.
that process
My God.
independent?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, rural communities were neglected under the last government. Confidence was at an all-time low, and thousands of food and farming businesses have been forced out of business. Now, of course, we will work with them. Of course, we'll get the balance right, but we're again picking up, clearing up the mess and rebuilding our country.
Mr. Speaker, as a glimpse, in Wales, the Labour government...
Because basically this is what we've been reduced to. It goes between the two sets of absolute, utter ghouls pointing at each other, each with legitimate points because they're so comparable to one another. Oh, you did worse than us. No, other way around. You're doing worse than we did. Blah, 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 back and forth. And then they share some sort of joke between each other and they all laugh because they are all in league together. The neoliberal league of shite. And that's what we've been reduced to. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's just utterly awful, the state of politics in the UK.
hammered farmers, hitting them with top-down eco-targets. And Labour's own assessment of those plans said that it would lead to thousands of job losses, less food security, and destroy rural incomes, while farmers described it as bleak and damaging. So can he reassure English farmers that he won't threaten their livelihoods, and can he rule out imposing those same top-down targets here?
Prime Minister.
Welcome, Floor Snake. Thanks for jumping in the chat. Great to see you. Don't worry about being a bit late. It's all good. Great to see you.
No responsibility for the economic black hole, the broken NHS, the prison
Another black
crisis,
hole.
the ruinous legacy of 14 years of failure. We've started
Storming
rebuilding
into a
the
3-1
country.
lead.
Renters reform, house building, GB Energy, National Wealth Fund, Border Security Command, I could go on. Whilst they try to rewrite history, we're getting on with building a better country for the future.
Madam Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure the whole House will firstly join me in paying our respects to Lieutenant Rodri Lyshan, who tragically passed away last week. My thoughts are with the family, loved ones, HMS Queen Elizabeth crew during this very difficult time. Mr. Speaker, housing in Portsmouth is in dire straits. But local residents in Portsmouth North have valid concerns around population density, infrastructure and the environment. So I'm glad this government is working on delivering affordable housing in the city. Can the Prime Minister ensure that the infrastructure is properly considered and that communities are involved in the planning process for any new...
Yeah, Keith says black holes more than Stephen Hawking. Yeah, 3-1 now. A 3-1 lead. He says deliver more than a regional manager at Amazon. Fnair.
new developments.
Can I start by saying I'm sure the whole House will want to join me in sending condolences to the family of Lieutenant Lyshan. I agree with her on the desperate need for affordable housing, and that's why we're going to deliver the biggest social and affording housing uplift in a generation. We will get Britain building again 1.5 million houses because the dream of home ownership was snuffed out under the last government.
1.5 million more capitalist landlordism developments is what you mean to say, Keith.
Mr. Speaker, can I associate myself and my party with the comments made earlier by the Prime Minister about our amazing late Queen, and also join him in sending our best wishes to Her Royal Highness, Princess of Wales. I don't think anyone...
Mr. Pike Bishop up in the house. Great to see you.
Video,
welcome back.
We hope that you'll make a full and speedy recovery.
Solidarity.
When it comes to fighting cancer, we know all too well that every day counts. But in the last year of the last government, there were over 100,000 patients waiting more than 2 months just to start their urgent cancer treatment, the worst on record. So will the Prime Minister help boost cancer survival rates by guaranteeing that every patient can start their cancer treatment within 62 days?
Well, I thank him for that question on a really important issue, and there's a report out by Lord Darcy tomorrow which will set out in stark terms the failure in terms of cancer treatment under the last government, which is a really serious issue. This timeline
Royalty is the only tea that I would argue against on the channel. Perhaps that might be a little bit naughty. Yeah, thanks for that one as well, RC Pilot.
very serious failure by the last government.
Ed David. Prime Minister
Stability.
answer and also look at the plans that the government is putting forward. Last night, Liberal Democrats voted against the withdrawing of winter fuel payments. We believe it's just wrong to balance the books.
Oh, we've got a prefix. We've got a T prep. We're going into T prefixes now. Tedious.
Understand that there are some difficult choices
Tedious.
to be made to clear up the appalling financial mess left by the last Conservative government. One of the many reasons for that mess was the Conservatives prioritising tax cuts for the big banks, costing £4 billion a year.
They pay more tax.
So, will the Prime Minister instead reverse those cuts so that we can afford to support millions of struggling pensioners through this very hard winter?
Well, I'll resist the temptation to get ahead of the budget. But look, what is important is that we recognise that there is this £22 billion black hole.
I think I just interrupted Keith as he was about to say black hole again. But before we do that, I'm just really liking all of the tea-based puns coming in. And now we're branching into prefixes as well as suffixes. It's great to see that we're doing this together as a team. Ooh, don't know about that one.
Hole that's been left by the previous.
Yeah, there's another.
Now I know that their practice was ignore it, to kick it into long grass. We're taking the tough decisions because I'm absolutely convinced that's the only way we can start rebuilding our country, investing in our public services, and making sure that everybody is better off.
Patrick Hurley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
4-1
My
now,
Southport
4-1.
constituency has experienced a difficult summer. Firstly, I want to reiterate that our thoughts are with the families of Alice, Bibi and Elsie, who tragically lost their lives in the attack in July. I welcomed the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary to our town in the weeks that followed, and we worked together to find further ways to bring our community together. Can I therefore ask the Prime Minister to take this opportunity to recommit the government's support for our town for those grieving and affected by the tragic attack?
Prime Minister.
Well, I thank him for that question, and we stand with those who tragically lost their loved ones in this heinous attack. I did go up to Southport the day after and went back actually 3 days after that on a private visit to meet some of the first responders who had been at the scene and simply to say thank you to them. I can't tell the House how angry I was when I got back to London and saw that those same officers who had responded were having things thrown at them by far-right thugs.
I know he's obviously talking about a sensitive topic here, but I can't imagine Keith angry at all. Not in a sincere, loving way, just in a boring, lawyery way,
Sefton Borough Council and
bereft
Liverpool
of
City Regional
emotion.
Combined Authority to deliver a support package. The community has endured this horrendous event, should be supported, and I know will be, across the whole House.
Nigel Farage. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
No.
Yesterday we witnessed some extraordinary celebratory scenes outside Britain's prisons, where in some cases serious career criminals were released. And this to make way for, yes, rioters, but equally those who've said unpleasant things on Facebook and elsewhere on social media. Does the Prime Minister understand? There is a growing feeling of anger in this country that we are living through two-tier policing and a two-tier justice system.
Sit down.
I'm angry to be put in a position of having to release people who should be in prison because the last government broke the prison system. And the Prime Minister was repeatedly warned. He had his own release scheme. He was repeatedly warned that he had to adopt the scheme that we put in place. The former Justice Minister said if we don't do it, we'll have to get down on our knees and pray. The police chiefs made it absolutely clear in a letter to him before the election that he needed to take action, saying that they wouldn't be able to discharge their duties and saying the risk was loss of an ability to detain suspects. That means, Mr. Speaker, an inability to arrest people committing offences. That's how bad it was, and they warned the Leader of the Opposition that further delays until after the general election will increase the risk significantly. What did he do?
Yeah, nice one, the Baron. Two-tier policing. Very good, very good. This is quality. This is quality tea punning.
Will deliver much needed reform, ensuring the network serves both passengers and rail freight effectively. So can the Prime Minister explain how Labour's ambitious railway plan will also deliver improvements to rail infrastructure to ensure my constituents get the service they deserve at Luton Station?
Prime Minister.
Well, I thank her for raising that important matter. One of the first bills that we introduced was to reform our railways after 14 years of chaos. Great British Railways will unite track...
I'll be honest, I missed most of that question though I was reading the chat. Something about Luton train station, was that? Sorry, that's out of my remit. I can't throw my 2 cents in on that one.
That will be in relation to both Luton and Leagrave stations in her constituency. We're carefully considering the best approach, but I can assure her we're committed to ensuring our railways will be open to everyone.
Tessa Mount.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is Back British Farming Day. The previous government let our farmers down and in their incompetence underspent the farming budget by £100 million. Will the Prime Minister deny rumours that his government plans to take advantage of the Conservatives' failure by removing that £100 million permanently? Farmers across the country want to know that the Prime Minister will increase the agriculture budget, as the Lib Dem manifesto proposed, to speed up the rollout of the new environmental land management schemes.
Don't mention the European Union. Whatever you do, that'll stir everyone up, Keith.
Well, I thank you for that question. It is a really important issue, and our rural communities were neglected by the previous government, and that's why confidence is at an all-time low. And what we will do is to protect farmers from being undercut in trade deals, make the supply chain work more fairly, and prevent shock rises in bills by switching to GB energy. We won't preempt the budget in relation to this, but we will put the support in place. Thank you.
Luke Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many of my constituents, including those at Chapel Gate, have told me about the so-called management agents who charge them rip-off service fees and then fail to provide even the most basic of maintenance. Many of them spend hours each week battling with these...
Super Tiny, welcome to the chat. Yeah, you're right about Kamala compared to Keith. I'll be going into the Trump-Harris debate a bit later on. But at least Kamala Harris has a little bit of charisma in her bullshit. Whereas Starmer, it's back to grey men in grey suits, really, just absolutely epitomised.
And yes, we will reiterate our commitment to act to bring the feudal leasehold system to an end and ensure leaseholders can benefit from more rights, power and protections over their homes.
Brendan O'Hara. Mr Speaker, international law is clear. Dropping £2,000 bombs on densely populated civilian areas is a crime. And it's beyond dispute
it's a war
that Israel
crime,
has used F-35
an international war crime.
Yet the government has chosen to exempt F-35 components from the arms licence suspension, when all it had to do was say that Israel could not be the end user if UK manufactured parts were included. Last week, Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister stood at that dispatch box and he said, we either comply with international law or we do not.
That's right.
Why has he chosen not to?
Prime Minister.
We are complying with international law.
Because he's lobbied by Israel, and he's an open Zionist.
The most important thing now
obviously
is that we get a ceasefire in place. That is one of the topics that I'll be discussing on Friday to ensure that the
solidarity with Palestine. Great to see those flags going up in the chat again. Throw them this way, people.
A two-state solution, which is the only way to lasting peace.
Fife has a proud defence heritage, and in my constituency of Dunfermline and Dollar, that continues with the dockyard at Rosyth constructing Type 31 frigates for the Royal Navy, along with a local supply chain of local SMEs. So will the Prime Minister ensure the Strategic Defence Review team
F-35? Wow.
So they can engage fully with
these are getting pretty impressive now. These are getting pretty impressive. F-35.
Prime Minister. Well, I thank him for that.
Oh, free Palestine.
His constituency,
from the river to the sea, people.
Rosyth Dockyard. The Strategic Defence Review will ensure that defence is central both to security and to economic growth and prosperity. The review will consult widely, including across the devolved nations, and I know the reviewers recognise the strategic importance of constituencies like his, and I will ensure that he gets the chance to meet the relevant minister to discuss the particular issues in his constituency.
We'll have to start compiling a list. There have been scores of them now. It's been brilliant.
Speaker. The previous Conservative government committed to a rebuild of Whipps Cross Hospital, the Princess Alexandra Hospital in Harlow, and the establishment of a new community.
You have to sit down a minute. Look, I'm determined to hear this question. I don't expect the front bench to be shouting me down, and it won't happen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The previous Conservative government...
Trying to join in again?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The previous Conservative government committed to a rebuild of Whipps Cross Hospital, the Princess Alexandra Hospital in Harlow, and the establishment of a new community diagnostic centre at St Margaret's Hospital in Epping. Will the new Labour government honour these commitments and progress these projects in full, which are so vital to improving the health services needed by my constituents of Epping Forest? And if it helps the Prime Minister at all with his answer, these services will also help some of the constituents of his Health Secretary just next door in Ilford North.
Prime Minister.
Well, look, he's right to champion the hospitals in his constituency, quite right to do so. The problem with what the last government promised was this. They promised 40 new hospitals. The problem was there weren't 40, they weren't new.
Oh yeah, Mr. 1.5 million houses, what was that? Not even 10 minutes ago. Well, we'll see about that as well, won't we? You are one and the same, you know you are, Keith.
And Lise Bidgley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, I met my constituent, Cheryl Corbell, mother of Olivia Pratt Corbell, the 9-year-old tragically murdered in 2022. Cheryl is campaigning for Olivia's Law, which would compel convicted criminals to attend court and face the judge and receive their sentence. Will my right honourable friend commit to supporting Olivia's Law and meet Cheryl to discuss how we can move this forward without delay?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, in the King's Speech, we confirmed that we intend to introduce legislation this session so courts have the power to order the most serious offenders to attend their sentencing hearings. This is really important, and I know it's felt across the House, because to deprive victims and their families of seeing the sentencing exercise is to deprive them of justice. I will meet Cheryl. I have already met Cheryl and gave her the...
Thank you for those sentiments, Andy Carter, as well. Solidari-Tea.
Tribute to the campaign that she has led.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the Prime Minister was a pensioner earning $11,350 this year and receiving no winter fuel payment, what would he prioritise this Christmas? Heating or eating?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we have to be clear why this decision is being made.
Because you're an arsehole.
£2 billion black hole.
Oh.
And the previous government would walk past these tough decisions, pretend it wasn't there, put it in the long grass. We're not prepared to do that. Because we're taking tough decisions, we can commit to the triple lock, and that means that the state pension will increase by more than any loss of the winter payment allowance. But I would just say this, the biggest impact on pensioners in recent years was when they lost control of inflation, when they allowed energy prices to go through the roof, and we went through a cost of living crisis. We're stabilising the economy to make sure pensioners never, ever have to live through that again.
Mark Ferguson.
What a ridiculous response. What a ridiculous response. We all know. In fact, I'm going to go through a compiled short list. Bear with me 1 second. I'll just go through them again, like I did on the last live stream. These are some of the things that he could have chosen to breach the deficit with, and I'm not going to get into his rhetoric, however many times they try and repeat it. They claim to have found the deficit when they went in to government. They knew about it before it was raised in House of Commons several times. Okay, so they could reverse the bankers' cut. That'll be 5.3 billion. Bearing in mind they have to cover a 1.4 billion deficit that they claim that they only found when they came into government. And this is like 0.1% of our GDP, by the way. Not something that could cause a run on the pound if unignored. So you could put a 2% tax on people with over £10 million worth of assets, and that'd raise 30 billion. You could crack down on £150 billion in tax avoidance from the top earners, stop £80 billion in tax waivers to the 200 biggest companies, raise a top income tax to 50%, and that'd raise 8 billion as well, or equalise capital gains tax to income tax, put them at the same level, and you'd raise £12 billion there. Vis-a-vis, you're talking absolute crap, Keith.
Endured 15 months.
The audacity. The audacity.
Months of chemotherapy, high-dose chemotherapy, stem cell harvest, proton therapy, immunotherapy, hair loss, nasal feeding. Now she urgently needs the drug DFMO, not yet available in the UK. It must be administered within 90 days of the end of immunotherapy. 91 days is too late. Will the Prime Minister please meet with Annabelle's parents to discuss the life-saving care that she needs?
Yeah. Prime Minister.
Just before he responds to that, I don't like to use the word answers because you don't get a lot of answers in the House of Commons, do you? You get responses. Just on this winter fuel payment vote yesterday, there was only one Labour MP, as I'm sure you all know, just a single solitary one, John Trickett, who voted to continue the winter fuel payments. Well done to him, but shame on the 53, was it? 53 abstainees as well. Some had legitimate reasons why they couldn't actually be in the voting lobbies in the House of Commons. Yes, it's an ancient system and you have to physically be there to physically walk into a lobby. It must have been a strange event as well, because all of the independents voted to keep the fuel cuts, as did most of the Tories as well. So you would have had Corbyn, for example, and Zara Sultana in the same voting lobby as the likes of Rishi Sunak. You know, Crazy times indeed, but this is what Keith's neoliberalism has led to, is that you've got socialist independents, other parties, the SNP, the Greens, so on, lining up to go into the lobbies to vote in league with the Tories. That's how messed up it is.
Well, can I pay tribute to Annabelle for her incredible bravery and understand how important it is that cancer patients are able to benefit from rapid access to effective new treatments. The manufacturers of this drug have applied for a UK licence through Project Orbis, which allows the rapid review and approval of new cancer treatments, and we'll ensure that process is completed as quickly as possible. And I will also ensure that the Health Minister does set up the meeting that he's asked for.
Dame Harriet Ball.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thought that socialism was about taxing those with the broadest shoulders in order to help the most vulnerable. But it appears that...
Well, if you thought Labour was socialist, then sorry, Harriet Baldwin, but you're quite disillusioned there. I dare even say it's a dose of insanity.
Will the Prime Minister apologise to my shivering constituents for his personal choice? And will he reverse this chilling decision?
My choice is to stabilise...
Holy Christ, you could write headlines for The Sun with those kind of king puns. I mean, they're certainly not quality.
It's working people who pay the price, and I will not let that happen under a Labour government.
Paulette Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. More than half of people with pancreatic cancer die within 3 months of diagnosis, and 7 in 10 people never even receive treatment. Every 2 minutes in the UK, someone is diagnosed with cancer. But for those diagnosed with the least survivable cancer, time has too often already run out.
And on cue, I'm going to have to dive off for a minute or two to put the kettle on, literally. There's no teapot in there. I thought there might have been one for a split second, but there isn't. I'll just let it run for a moment or two, excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, shout out in the chat if there are any mentions of black holes or deliver in my absence. Thank you very much indeed, people.
Tireless campaigning, particularly in relation to pancreatic cancer. Cancer patients have been failed by the last government, waiting far too long for diagnosis and treatment. We'll get the NHS catching cancer on time, diagnosing it earlier and treating it faster, so more patients survive this horrible set of diseases.
Louis Fletch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Following Labour's disgraceful political decision to scrap winter fuel payments with little notice to millions of pensioners, will the Prime Minister today rule out scrapping concessionary travel fares and council tax discounts, which also help millions of pensioners across the UK? Yes or no?
Prime Minister. Well, as he knows very well, I'm not going to preempt the budget. It will all be set out in due course.
Did it with the winter fuel.
Gareth Amwhistle.
Speaker, can I pass on the heartfelt thanks on behalf of the Bolton Council of Mosques, who greatly appreciated the dedication and leadership that the Prime Minister showed during the recent riots over the summer. Does my right honourable friend agree with me on the importance of supporting interfaith and community groups who play a vital role in bringing people together?
Minister.
Okay, I'm back.
Thank you for raising that. And we owe an incredible debt of gratitude to our police for their courage in dealing with the recent disorders. And we took action to ensure they had the resources and powers they needed to tackle violence and restore order to our streets. We also, Mr. Speaker, provided additional security for mosques, ensuring freedom of worship and protection from racist threats. And in the aftermath, we saw communities who really represent Britain coming forward, led by faith groups and community organisations. They showed that unity and demonstrated our values of tolerance and of respect.
Anne Davies.
Diolch Llefarydd. Denmark has been undergrounding its electricity cables since 2008, building infrastructure and maintaining responsible stewardship of the countryside. The Welsh Labour Government's policy is for all new power lines to be placed underground where possible. The UK Labour Government favours overhead pylons. Why is his government opposing Welsh colleagues in Wales?
We're absolutely committed to the transition to renewable energy. The reason for that is because it gives us energy independence, it lowers the bills, and of course the next generation of jobs are tied up with it. We have to do it in a cost-effective way.
Why are people in Scotland?
In the cost-effective way.
Why is Scotland producing 5 times more energy than it produces, but they've got the highest energy rates in Europe, Keith?
With both businesses and trade unions to secure a transition that's both right for the workforce and delivers economic growth in Wales. We know that deindustrialisation can be devastating to communities, so can the Prime Minister tell me how the government's safeguarding jobs and securing the future of steelmaking communities like ours for generations to come?
Prime Minister.
We're taking every step we can in relation to the steel industry because it's vital that we give it the support that it needs. We need steel in this country. We need steel made in this country. And our plans and our missions mean we're going to need more steel, not less. And it's the duty of the government to ensure jobs and communities and people aren't ignored in the transition and that jobs are protected. And Mr Speaker, I can say the Business Secretary will provide an update to the House this afternoon.
Ollie Glover.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Oxfordshire has seen a huge amount of population growth in recent years without the infrastructure to match.
Why is that?
A new railway station on the Great Western Main Line between Didcot and Swindon, Grove and Wantage, would help to reduce traffic and improve access to both Oxford and London. Does the Prime Minister support investment in our railway, and would he meet with me to hear the case for a new railway station at Grove and Wantage?
Prime Minister.
Well, I thank the honourable member for raising this important issue, obviously very important for his constituents. And we are committed to putting passengers at the heart of our railways. Great British Railways will work closely with regional government, mayors, operators and passengers.
Putting passengers at the heart of the railways, what? Otherwise you were just going to send the trains around with nobody on them. Of course passengers are the heart of railways. It's a transportation system.
That completes Prime Minister's questions. I'll let the front benches clear.
Right, that's it. That was it. So it was 5-1. 5-1 to the Blackhall count over deliver. So unlucky postman twats, but Blackhall consumes all. I'll just let you take a closer look at that. That's what I'll take down the counts. So we can see the full. There you go. So there's this week's loser and this week's winner. If you've got criticism for Starmer, he's got the magic spell that is those 2 magic words, black hole. Yeah, Octo, they were extraordinarily dense. Therefore, the gravity is so strong that not even light can escape. They're almost as dense as someone who fought for a neoliberal party. So what did you make of that? Well, you heard my thoughts, just went through it. So let me know yours, either in the chat or in the comments if you're watching back on a replay. Also, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. There's a few ways that you can help to support My Left Eye. If you're watching on a replay, you can hit super thanks. If you're watching live, super chat is open, as well as super stickers. You might also like to consider joining the channel for just 99p. That's a great way of showing solidarity. Some perks for you to enjoy. If you want to check those out, please hit the button on the live stream or on the video if you're watching back. So you can get some exclusive content, early viewings and stuff like that. Alright, I've got another comedy clip lined up I'm just about to bring you, and then we'll move on to a couple of other stories quickly. Skim through a few other bits. Thank you for sticking it out with me on tonight's stream. Still a few more things to get through. So this next, which one shall I play next? Okay, I'm gonna go with this one just because we've come out of PMQs. It's another one based at a UK MP, so I guess we'll go with that one. This is Drinking with Auntie Ange. Nadine Skinner's latest video. We're going to check this one out.
Alright, it's me, Auntie Angela. Oh God, that was loud. Oh, I've got a right bad headache. Oh God, I've just got back from my beefer. The come down is real. But don't worry, I'm in the pub beer garden, hair of the dog. Woof woof. Anyway, let me tell you, I know a lot of people have been saying, you know, I was going away on holiday doing dancing, letting my hair down, that was a bad thing. But I'm working class, I was just having some fun. You know, if dancing's a crime, then look up Theresa May. Anyway, I've been working right hard over the last couple of weeks, like super hard, because I've got my Oasis tickets. Get in there! I was 543,000th in the queue, but I'm not no bot. I'm not Liz Truss. I got my tickets because I'm the third Gallagher brother. That's right. I'm going to sort those two boys out, make sure they don't get in a scrap, because Auntie Angela, she'll save the day. But let's sort out the country first. I mean, things can only get better, but only after they've got a hell of a lot worse. Sorry if you didn't see that bit in the manifesto. It was there, but it was probably painted on one of the walls that Keir was stood awkwardly in front of in one of the many photos of him doing that. I mean, that man can look uncomfortable in any situation. I'm pretty sure he apologised on the way out of the womb. Tell you what, off the record, I was saying to Keir just the other day, why are you trying to ban having a cheeky fag in the pub beer garden, you mardy bastard? I'm pretty sure you came up with the policy just to stop me from dropping in on your Islington gastropub Sunday lunches with your family. As I told you last time, I'm not taking my Benson and Edges out into the car park just so you can finish off your tiramisu, you pensive ponce. Keir will tell you that the economy's down the Kazi and that the Treasury's got less cash in it than the membership account of the Matt Hancock fan club, and I'll tell you not to worry about it. Pull up a pint and have a cheeky ciggy. We're playing good cop, incredibly uncomfortable cop. We've made it work for us. Me and Keir have learned to work together. I mean, are we close? Of course we are. I mean, whose farts do you think it is? He's always looking like he's just smelled. Anyway, we've got to get back to work now. We've got to sort out this country, am I right? Just don't put your heating on though, Gran, because we're cancelling the winter fuel payments. Sorry, spoilers. But we've got to stand up for your rights. Just not your right to buy, because we're cancelling that as well. Anyway, all right, me and Mum, all right, I'm going to do the washing up in a minute. Sorry, I'm working class, I've got to go. All right, can we put Daft Punk on? All right. Sorry, I'm not sure which end that came out of.
Oh, that was good, that. Sorry, the end. I've already seen it, but that forgot about that bit at the end. Auntie Ange there. Nadine Skinner. check her stuff out if you don't already. She's on YouTube and stuff as well. Fantastique. Alright, bringing the riffs. Gonna go on to US matters for a little bit just now. I'm getting this lined up. There was the big debate yesterday between Trump and Harris before November's election. Let's take a dive into that. Let's see what's happening, people. I don't back either of them, of course. You know, they're both capitalist neolibs, so on and so forth. Don't like either of the positions on Palestine, plus many other issues as well. So I think I'm going to go into a verification video, the Beebs verification video, just to see how much manure that they were spreading out during the live debate. I've already heard a bit about this claim Trump made about Haitian immigrants eating domesticated animals, dogs, cats, that kind of thing. Is that right? So this is going to be a Ross Atkins verification vid. Just get this queued up one sec. That was a really fun PMQs, guys. You made it all the more worthwhile with all of the tea-based puns as well. Thanks a lot for all your contributions in the chat. Flow Snake, this tune is some uncopyrighted music that I picked up recently. The artist isn't actually credited or anything like that. I was using a different background music for a stream or two, which was supposedly copyright free, but then the videos came up ineligible for ads. There were restrictions placed on the vid, so I changed it to this one. I kind of spliced a few tunes together in sequence and just kind of put it on a loop as well, so that's what the background music is for the Brews at 10. And potentially the background music for the tea-based rap, we'll see. Alright, Ross Atkins, let's go over and see what's happening with this verification vid. Okay, it should be up. Why is it not up? There it is. Yeah. That's the one. Let's move this over there. Okay, so there was I know that there was an interjection. I've not seen this sort of compilation before or the full live debate. I know that there was an interjection from the host when he made that claim about Haitian immigrants, to say that was made up, and his only response was, well, I saw a video where sorry. It was just something like, well, I saw a video where a guy said that he'd seen it. And for me, that's good enough. to go on national television and tell people that it's happening. I'm definitely not just playing the old anti-migration racist tropes that I did before I got elected previously. What a pair of muppets. Okay, let's see what's happening.
Donald Trump says the TV debate with Kamala Harris was rigged against him, and he was asked this in the spin room afterwards.
What did you think of the moderators fact-checking you throughout the debate? Well, I think the moderators were very unfair.
Trump supporters described the debate as 3 against 1, in part because Trump was fact-checked more than Harris. But he said much more that wasn't true.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
They're eating the dogs.
That prompted one of the more unlikely fact checks.
ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here.
After sourcing that claim to people on television, Trump also said this.
Her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's
Don't hate
execution,
tea
no
in
longer
Haiti.
abortion because the baby is born is okay. And that's not okay with me.
I'll see, Pilot. There's a lot of you on fire tonight with these puns.
There
a
is
lot
no
of you.
state in this
Really,
country where it is
absolute
legal to
fire.
kill a baby after
Great
it's
stuff.
born.
The moderators fact-checked or clarified Trump 5 times. Kamala Harris, not once, despite her making
Sorry, I was
statements.
going to skip that back a bit. I missed that.
The baby is born is okay. And that's not okay with me.
Again, the moderators didn't let this pass.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
The moderators fact-checked or clarified Trump 5 times. Kamala Harris, not once, despite her making statements that required correction. For example, she said, Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. That's not true. She also said this.
If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie.
That Harris statement was misleading. But there were also many other Trump claims that went unchecked. For example, he said,
both a pair of
we have millions of people
bullshitters.
pouring into
Trumps
our
are
country from
obviously
prisons and jails,
a
from
bit
mental
more
institutions
up
and
front,
insane asylums.
a bit more
This
apparent
is not supported by
than
evidence.
Harris's.
During
but
one attack on Biden and Harris,
she seems to be
Trump
getting
claimed
away
there's
with
been the
a few
worst
more. They're
inflation
both as
we've
bad
ever
as each
had.
other, of course.
That's not true. And how ABC approached all of this was different to CNN in June. It decided not to fact-check Biden and Trump during their debate, although it did so afterwards. And this illustrates how, ever since Trump first ran in 2016, journalism has wrestled with how to respond to the volume of false and misleading claims he makes. Pollster Frank Luntz tweeted, like it or not, moderator David Muir arguing with Trump will fuel the narrative that these moderators are biased against him. Maybe it will. But while both candidates made statements that required correction, Trump did so much more. It's not biased to point that out.
Well, I mean, as mainstream journalists go.
Kamala Harris.
What's this?
Have a good debate.
See, have fun.
Thank you.
As mainstream journalists go, I don't mind Ross Atkins that much. I think it's absolutely fair of him to point out where both candidates are lying. Obviously, like I said, Trump stands out a bit more than Harris, and the moderator or mediator in the debate, whatever you prefer to call them, was certainly biased in terms of, what was it, 5 times? I think they said 5 times, and most of the 5 times they interjected were against Trump. But they're both full of it. Absolutely full of it. chat as well. A few more puns coming in, as always. Demolition Man? Oh, the Sylvester Stallone film. I'm with you. I think we'll go with another comedy clip. Like I said, I think this ties in. This is a general sort of anti-capitalist comedy clip. It's from someone who hasn't featured on a live stream before as well. I don't know if you've seen this one, but it really is. It's good. It's from a TikToker, I think. Well, that's where I got the clip from. So I really hope you like it. Just to point out as well, while most of the world was distracted with that live TV debate, especially Americans, as that was ongoing, Israel launched attacks on Lebanese residential areas. I just wanted to quickly point that out, keeping a very close eye. My left eye is on this continual escalation in the Middle East, and whether this could overpour into a massive regional war. Certainly doesn't look unlikely at the moment, and it's events like these that are ultimately going to be a catalyst for that. So Israel's probably fighting a war on about 7 different fronts at the moment, and now it's chosen to attack Lebanese residential areas. That's just the latest situation there. Capitalism and war go hand in hand, don't they, unfortunately. So let's take a look at this from TikTok. It really is good if you've not seen this. Okay, where are we? We've got so many clips on the queue list. Right, here we go. Strap yourselves in, people. Solidari-Tea.
Hi, my bank account is stuck. I keep wiring a lot of money, but my balance won't shift.
Okay. How much money is it stuck at?
I don't see why that matters.
How much money, sir?
$50 million.
$50 million! We have a winner!
What is going on?
You won capitalism!
I don't like this. So how do I make more money?
That's the end. You did it. 50 million is plenty. Next.
What? No, you can't just...
I'm sorry, sir. Are you complaining about only having $50 million?
No, I just... This can't be a thing.
No, yeah, it is a thing now. It's a new law.
But I do...
I'm sorry. What exactly are you wanting to do that you can't do with $50 million?
Why would I even keep working?
Yeah, so no more money for you. That all goes to the poor. But don't be sad. You can still win Sticky Puff!
No.
Get enough and win cool prizes like this custom toilet paper roll with the names of normies you beat at capitalism.
No, I don't want that. I
know, more money. You sure do love your money, and that's why you get to cash in your first sticky bucks for a hug from Bucko McGee.
No. Stay. No. Get the f*** away from me!
Oh, good, Bucko.
Brilliant. Well, if only it was really like that, eh? Yeah, well, that's a good way of summing it up. Greed, that is. Alright folks, thanks for sticking it out with me. I just want to give another massive shout out to the members, old and new alike, here on the channel. great to have you supporting me here on My Left Eye and the Brews at 10. Solidari-Tea to everybody on the list here. And if you'd like to join this list of incredible people, you can do so for just 99p. Check out the perks underneath the video or in the channel description as well. There's still one more clip to come, so please do hang around. I'm also going to see if anyone else is live this evening and raiding to perhaps Kev or Helena at No Justice, whoever's on. Yeah, I've had a really good time on the stream tonight as well. Thanks for keeping everything very cordial and polite in the chat, of course, as usual. I've had a good time with the puns as well. And yes, I'll be back with you for more Brews at 10 during the week for what's left of it, and there'll be the live stream on Sunday. Trying to bring you a normal video out as well before the week's done. So busy here on My Left Eye. But it's great to see the community growing and great to see everybody who's been here this evening as well. So I'll leave you with this one from Exploding Heads, who are back. They've not had a video out for a bit, but great stuff as always from Exploding Heads. And Colin from Portsmouth is irate as always over what's been happening to Elon Musk recently, so do stick around after this. I will say another goodbye after the clip before I do the raid as well. So this is the latest from Exploding Heads.
Colin from Portsmouth is on the line. Hello, Colin.
I am disgusted, absolutely disgusted with how they're treating Elon Musk.
How are they treating Elon Musk, Colin?
Like he's a total moron, an actual imbecile. Just because of what? His words and his actions?
Well, yeah, mainly because of his words and his actions, Colin, yeah.
That man bought a website to be popular, to spite his child, and to make a joke about a sink.
Yes.
44 billion well spent. Or 9 billion in today's money.
Well, the problem is, Colin, I mean, people who didn't think he was a bit idiotic before he bought Twitter, they now... X. Yeah,
Let's give it its less globally recognised name. Have some respect.
Before he bought X, now they've all realised that rich people can be stupid too, and it's...
Well, rich people have earned the right to be stupid. Or at least their parents have earned them that right. And if you want to pay all that money to have a breakdown in public, then knock yourself out.
Yeah.
It's no different from a normal person in their 50s buying a leather jacket and some podcasting equipment. And if you use that podcasting equipment to try and start a civil war in Britain and get banned by Brazil, then you're living your best life.
Yeah,
Keep
fair
paying,
enough.
Elon. Those bots with blue ticks are all behind you. Anyway, mate, thanks for having me on. Love to the family.
Love to the family, Colin, love to the family. Would you go on his spaceship?
Yes, why not? Would you stop flying NASA ships if they kept publicly soiling themselves?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, we're definitely not... well, I'm definitely not a Musk fanboy. That's for sure. That's for sure. Great video there, Exploding Heads. Check them out as well if you haven't done already. Hope you've enjoyed the comedy clips. Hope you had a nice time during PMQs as well this evening and throughout all the other topics that I've been through. It's been awesome to see you all this evening. So yeah, that just about wraps it up for tonight. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your week, or before I see you next, don't forget to hit the notification bell and keep up to date with the community chat to find out where the next content's going to be out. So have a good evening, people. Take care. My Left, I'll be seeing you soon. Solidari-Tea. Sorry, I forgot to say as well, no one's live at the moment, otherwise I would redirect. But yeah, good night people, take care.